Hey guys, welcome back to another today's video. Um, so today in this video, I'm going to take a little bit break from third parties, and I'm going to be discussing a political issue that really affects my life, and it's political correctness. So I hope you guys enjoy. So here's my speech on political correctness. Hello there. So before we begin, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever thought about how we as a society came to a point where people are so easily offended, where everyone's feelings have been hurt? Well, if you ever thought about this, that's because we're living through it today, which is called political correctness, where we see it happen on the news, where some people like Angela Rye on CNN are demanding for Confederate monuments and other historical statues be taken down, because they say it is offensive and symbolizes racism and black oppression, and they think removing these statues from our history will all of a sudden improve on black lives. Well, it could work in theory, but in reality, they're only causing more divisiveness in society, because changing culture and history will thus lose our own identity as a country, and will help history repeat itself again. But in my own views on political correctness is that it needs to stop, because it is only causing way more problems than good in our nation. One of the major problems with political correctness is that we're erasing our own history. President Trump on Tuesday, on August 15, 2017, stated to reporters at Trump Tower, "You're changing history and culture." And there's a lot to this quote to analyze from. Because as someone who loves history, like me, for instance, it's always bad to erase our own history. Because if we don't remember the dark past that America went through as a nation, it will repeat itself again, but even way more worse than ever. And does anyone want a second American Civil War to break out? I sure don't. And I'm surely confident the liberal media and progressives openly supporting this non-discriminatory, non-racist, and non-sexist agenda neither want a second American Civil War to happen also. Do we also want another Jim Crow era to happen? I sure don't, and neither do you also. But this generation of being sensitive to others doesn't stop here, because with being multiculturally sensitive, there's also another issue, is that we're not going to learn anything that turns us into better human beings. And what I mean by this is that we all make mistakes in life, and it's common to make a mistake. But the way we improve as individuals in a society is by learning from what you did wrong in the past. But most importantly, it is also by receiving criticism from others that will always give you constructive feedback to turn you into a better person. And with political correctness, it discourages criticism because we're all teaching everyone to all be nice to each other. So no one is no longer getting their feelings hurt, which is disrupting the process of improvement. And as people of a society, we are never perfect because we all make mistakes. And there's always some areas of improvement that we can do, like improving upon our writing skills, improvements upon our reading and comprehension skills, and even improving upon our skills to effectively communicate with others and give speeches to massive groups of people. But with us becoming more considerate and inclusive, we're going to see more mistakes be repeated in our lifetime, and we're going to take two steps back in time rather than taking two steps forward in time to move us forward to greatness. And I thought the term progressive means moving forward, not backwards. But finally, the last major issue of PC is where does it stop? And what I mean by this is that as we take down Confederate monuments in the South to be more political view bias free, are we seriously going to start taking down George Washington and Thomas Jefferson statues? Because they were major slave owners too, you know. But George Washington was the first president of the United States, and Thomas Jefferson is the person that even wrote the Declaration of Independence. Do they deserve to lose their memorial for just being slave owners during the time when slavery was normal back then? Are we seriously going to rename Washington, D.C. to Eleanor Roosevelt City to be more inclusive with everyone so no one is no longer being offended anymore? Are we also going to erase FDR from American history because he authorized the internment of Japanese Americans into camps during World War II, where some progressives might look at it as racist to minorities? But FDR was able to get this country out of the Great Depression and was the person that adopted the Social Security program. Are we also going to make our movies, games, and books way more sensitive so no one is no longer getting their feelings hurt, which loses the creativity that novels, films, and video games bring to our society? Are we also going to rename cities, states to names that are more inclusive that but have no meaning at all? Can you imagine renaming San Francisco to Nancy Pelosi City that have absolutely no meaning whatsoever? Can you imagine horror movies like Michael Myers being way more inoffensive that will all of a sudden lose the film's creativity and art of being a horror film? That would suck because the one great thing with movies, games, and novels is that they bring a form of art to our society, whether it is historical or imaginative, regardless if it was offensive. For example, an FPS game called Battlefield 5 has marketed the game to be set during World War II, and it's getting a lot of criticism of not being historically accurate to the timeline. How you can play as a woman with a prosthetic arm, and the devs working on the game have stated that they're making their game to be more inclusive with everyone, which is losing the game's credibility of immersing players in that authentic World War II experience and being historically accurate, while also making it where they're trying to rewrite history. Can you also imagine the things you love in life just suddenly get erased from our society in an effort to be more considerate with others? And that's something that none of us wish to happen. Like me, for instance, who loves learning about the American Civil War through the history books, actually going to the actual battlefields, watching Civil War reenactments, watching films about the war, reading the many novels about a specific battle or a soldier during the war, and actually going to southern states like Mississippi and seeing Confederate flags and statues that was part of American history, and always looking at it as a scar from our past just to learn from it, and what things we can do together and make this nation a better place for all Americans, regardless of the color of your skin, regardless of your gender, regardless of your party affiliation, and regardless of what you believe in as a whole. But my point is this, ladies and gentlemen, is that political correctness needs to come to a full halt because it is only causing way more dilemma than good in our nation. And I understand why people like African Americans can be offended when they see a Confederate flag or historical statue that represented black oppression and bigotry. But that doesn't mean they can still be successful in life. And the key to that is just hard work and not letting your past or either weakness hold you back towards success. I have a learning disability, and I'm half Asian. And does my disability and the color of my skin hold me back to achieving my dreams? Well, of course not, because I have continually showed hard work and the dedication to do anything I can to stop at nothing until my dreams come true in my lifetime. In conclusion, though, I understand why people can be offended from our history, but if you don't remember the past that this country experienced, it will happen again, and people's lives will keep on getting worse and worse than rather getting better. So learn the past and join me to end political correctness and make America great again for you, for your children, and for their future children. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you making it all the way until the end. Um, Now, since you heard my thoughts on political correctness from my speech, I want to hear your thoughts and your views on political correctness and where you stand. Do you agree or disagree with me, or do you have a totally different opinion on political correctness? And don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, guys, this is the Young Centrist, and I am out.